Good morning to all. Yes, Stephen Brimley, our money, big bloods and boxing. Salute to you guys, man. Up early with me. I'm on late night work. I should be asleep, but I gotta stay up till 1, so I figured I might as well chop up this boxing action with my brethren. So we got the news. First, it was Errol Spence with the first day in training boxing gloves. And then at like 1 o'clock this morning, Terrence Bud Crawford decides to drop a 16 pic collage on his doggone Instagram with a big spike through a big fish, letting us know that July 29th, it is on and popping. Errol Spence versus Terrence Bud Crawford going down at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I hope everybody else is excited about this. I mean, it's a long time coming, baby. A long time coming. So, first things first, we're going to give respect to each fighter in different aspects. So, I want to give respect for first, we'll cover Errol Spence. The respect that we must give Errol Spence is that it looks as Al Heyman wanted him to fight Keith Thurman. Errol Spence said, no, I don't want to fight Keith Thurman. He said after the Ugas fight, there's one fight I want, that's Terrence Crawford. And he lived up to that word. He did not fight the man Keith once upon a time Thurman. He did not want that fight. He pushed for the Terrence Crawford fight. He communicated with Terrence Crawford directly. So the disrespect that Bud fans has had for Errol, let's give Errol his respect as a pugilist for deciding to only want to fight the biggest fight. We must give Errol Spence his credit for living up to his word and pushing like I told him he needed to. He did that. Much respect to Errol Spence, first and foremost. Now on to Terrence Crawford, the respect we must put on his name. Why we must put respect on his name? Because he felt he had a certain value, a value that would not be undermined with no guarantees for both fighters. And people making reports and saying Terrence Crawford is ducking and all this and all the vitriol for Terrence Crawford. But what he did was stand his ground and then actually got the right representation to help him facilitate this deal. So the mistakes that he made previously, he corrected those mistakes. And not only did he get himself 7 figures, he made sure Errol Spence was getting 7 figures as well. So he ensured both of these guys getting a proper guaranteed pay for the proper big fights. So as much vitriol people gave Terrence Crawford saying, yo, you a duck, you should have took the deal. Him standing his ground on what he believed that he was valued to be for this fight has only been proven by the fact that we're looking at both fighters getting 10 million plus for this fight and a unilateral rematch clause where both fighters. Oh, 7, it's 8 figures. I'm sorry, Big Blunts and Boxing. You are correct. 8 figures, not 7. 8 figures. I said 10 million. I said 7. That's wrong. It's actually 8 figures. Shout out to Lost Art of Boxing, my brother, a blessing, man. Shout out to you, cute. And so him ensuring both of them getting the biggest payday of their career on the guaranteed side. And then we have a unilateral rematch clause where they have bilateral, unilateral. I keep on saying shit wrong. I'm tired. Thank you for the corrections. I'm glad you're here to make sure that I get it right. So, bilateral rematch clause where after this fight, both fighters have 30 days to decide to initiate a rematch clause where the fight will transpire again before the end of this year. So if this fight is close and we get a decision or a late knockout where both fighters is putting up a good fight and the other fighter decides I want a rematch, we will get this fight again this year. So we may get back-to-back Spence and Crawford fights. That is fire. That's what it should have been from the jump street. And I'm sure that everybody would agree that's what it should have been from the jump street. So now we're gonna be talking for the next 2 months. It's gonna be back and forth, a lot of going back and forth with people biting each other's head off. Spence is gonna win, Crawford's gonna win, right? Expect that. But I'm glad we're getting that. Now, what are they gonna do promo wise? How's that going to work? Is it going to be, a multiple city tour? I was talking with my brother Mark Nash last night or this morning, and they suggested LA, New York, and Dallas. Now, Dallas is not a bad venue to have, but I do believe that Errol Spence has the Dallas market locked up, hands down. I don't know if there's a need to go to Dallas for the city promo. I believe it will be similar to what they did with Tank and Ryan Garcia. They'll do a New York and a LA and then put it for both of these guys to promote themselves properly, going out to the different venues. And you can already see there's a photo with Bud Crawford already sitting down with Gillian Wallow, right? So we going to expect to see a lot of that, some social media promotions, just like previous before. So I think that's how it's going to go. It'd be nice if they probably, tapped overseas, but there's not enough time for that. We have 2 months and 5 days for this fight. So I think they're going to replicate the same type of promotions that they had with Ryan and Tank. And I believe it should work. Now, in regards to pay-per-view numbers, there are a lot of fans that got tired and lost a lot of steam for this fight. But I believe that, yep, you're correct. He can interview with Dallas News independently. I don't think they need a pressure in Dallas either. You are absolutely correct. Yep, LA-NY, that's it. I think that's all they need. So, in regards to the potential pay-per-view action for this fight, I think the low end will probably be high sixes. I think that's the low end because as much as we can say, oh, man, we got tired of this, the moment this fight is announced, the fire is going to be lit. And if they promote this well, like they did the last fight, I believe it will do its numbers. Will it do more than Tank and Ryan? We don't know. My initial thought of what the numbers could be probably won't top that number that they're saying that it is, which was 1.2, 1.3. Some people said 900,000, whatever have you. I'm thinking low end, high sixes, high end, 1.1 mil. Any way you slice it, though, we have the fight. And if the fight is excellent, look for the second fight to actually get into that top 5 grossing. So salute to both of these gentlemen. So as much junk that we gonna talk about who's gonna win, let's put respect on both of these fighters for making it happen and for finally getting us here. Yes, I will pay, and that's what it's probably gonna be. Big Blunts and Boxing. It's gonna be $100. I wouldn't be surprised if it's $89.99 or $99.99 with HD or some shit like that, right? Or I would anticipate it being $100 pay-per-view. Now, the undercard, I'm sure some of us don't give a shit about the undercard. I would hope it'd be a decent undercard. I'm not expecting any big name, big money fighters on it because the money is going to these two guys. But rumor has it is that Pitbull Cruz will be on this. That's the rumor that Pitbull Cruz will be on this. So we'll have to look for the details to see who will be on the undercard. But I hope it's some good competitive fights for the undercard. I know a lot of people don't care about the undercard. There's people that don't care, but there's going to be some people that at least like to have, some decent fights on the undercard. You know what I mean? I hope to have, a Pitbull Cruz fight on the undercard is cool. And only thing about that is, I wouldn't want them to use that to build his profile for another Tank fight. I don't want to see Pitbull Cruz versus Tank 2. I'm going to go ahead and voice that. I don't want to see that. But it's going to be interesting the next few days going into this weekend because I believe we're going to get ready for our first presser and things of that nature. Will it be this weekend? Will it be next weekend? We'll find out soon. And it's going to be many other people reporting on this and talking about this. This is going to be the talk of the town. And I'm very excited because one is the day after my birthday. If I had the extra money, I would go to Vegas, but I know that it's going to cost at least $1,000 to get 2 tickets if you get it immediately when the tickets are sold. And after that, the resellers is going to gouge the shit out of anybody to get this fight. So what I'll probably do personally is I'm probably going to have a fight party at my house. I'll grill early on, like, I'll start grilling at like 4 and grill till like 7. Had a food ready, had a drinks, had a Jack Daniels, the honey, what I mean? Had the Henny for the Henny folks. I ain't a Henny guy. Some beers, have my mixed drinks ready to go. And invite, all my casual people, some of my hardcores to come through and chop it up with the Brim Reaper and enjoy the fight. So I really look forward to this. This will be the first time I've hosted a fight party in a while. But I think it's warranted. And I hope that we all support the fight. I saw some people talking about their fire sticking it. And the thing is, American fans, we need to be not to be trash. Yeah, fight party in Vegas would be fire. You were right, Q. I just don't think I'm gonna be able to make it out to Vegas in a 2 month time span. You know what I mean? I got a lot of other things to deal with, family situations and stuff that I don't think I can fork over like 4,000 to make that weekend. It'd be nice, and I'll look and see, but most likely I only got like about 1,000 free right now. So I'll probably just focus on having a phenomenal fight party and enjoying the fight and paying for the pay-per-view. Now I hope Showtime gets it together and gives us the ability to rewatch the fight, because that's one of the issues that I do have with their pay-per-view is that our money. At this point, bro, when you got Terrence Crawford posting that type of photo and his sister's already saying it's on, they're talking it's on, bro. I understand the skepticism. I do, because we have been too many times played with where we don't know if this fight is official or not. But at this point, I think it's official. It's real. It's real, bro. It's definitely real. Our money, I think, is real. Big Blunts and Blocks, and thank you. It's definitely real. So how do y'all feel about this fight? Who do you feel is going to win? For me, I got Bud just simply because I believe he's more dedicated to the sport. And Errol Spence is a dog. Errol Spence brings the pressure. But when you're fighting another big dog who has a little more skill than you, it's gonna get funky. I don't think it's going to make it 2 rounds before they're really tossing and throwing them things. I mean, it'll be a little fill out, but then it's gonna be octane, baby. I expect an octane fight. So I really, really look forward to the fight. And what makes it so dope is being the day after my birthday. Remember, Tuesday. Now, a lot of people are not going to be able to catch it in the States, but we have Fulton in a new way that Tuesday, the same week. I'll be at work when the fight starts. I think it starts at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in the States. So I'll be watching that baby. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be watching that from work and as I leave work, because I think it's going to be on Top Rank on our end. I don't know if it's pay-per-view, but I'll do my research on that. But 2 fights of that magnitude in the same week that will not affect each other's fights is phenomenal. I really think it's dope. This is leading into a phenomenal year of boxing. And knowing that we're going to get a second fight, for Crawford and Spence the same year really only intensifies that. So only thing left to put on the calendar that will make this year phenomenal is those 2 heavyweight fights. If those 2 heavyweight fights happen in Saudi Arabia, this year is going to go down in the history books. And boxing needs this, And what's so crazy about the whole Haney and Loma fight, I felt like Loma won, but when I rewatched it, I'm not going to sit here and say it's a robbery. I feel like it's a gift, but not a robbery. And I'm not going to disrespect Devin because he doesn't make that, he doesn't judge the fight. He just goes out and fights. And he showed a lot of heart and determination in his fight. And he did some things he had never done before. So I'm going to respect that young man. But if that rematch happens, that would be a phenomenal rematch. But it's yeah. Errol has only fought two southpaws. That is right. And another thing too, he doesn't fight well on the back foot, and he hasn't fought a person that moves to the magnitude and level that Crawford moves. But Crawford hasn't fought anybody that can put solid, good, hardcore pressure on him that can make him have to make adjustments to the point where it makes him uncomfortable. We've not seen Bud uncomfortable in the fight. We've seen him have to make adjustments and take some shots, but he never was uncomfortable. So both of these gentlemen are about to face something they have never faced before. So, oh, man. So shout out to my man, the E Thriller, the Black Picasso, a.k.a. Oh, my God, a.k.a. Lakers lost, motherfucker. He tells me that we got Spence and Crawford 2 times this year. Fuck the heavyweights, Brim. No, we care about the heavyweights. But right now, it's about Crawford and Spence. So you can for it if you want to, brother. I'm going to make you for it because I'm going to talk about that when that time comes. But the focus is now Crawford and Spence. And I'm really excited about it. I'm very happy. All this me saying the fight was going to happen. Finally, I don't look stupid anymore. Saying the fight was going to happen, then it doesn't happen. Damn, y'all on some fuck the heavyweights. Damn. Y'all really ain't fucking with the heavyweights, huh? Okay, I heard that. I ain't mad at y'all for saying that, though. I'm really not. No. Listen, I'm not getting out the kitchen. I have a right to be greedy. I'm a fight fan that pays his money for the fights that I feel that are quality. So no, I am going to do that. I'm going to make that request. I'm going to want that. You know what I mean? You can't blame me for that. Oh, Big Blunts, you don't think Errol will rematch Bud if he loses? And you think the second fight would be against Jamal? Listen, if it's a very close and competitive fight that goes to the cards or a late stoppage, it might be. It's a possibility. Listen, I know you're right. Okay, fuck the heavyweights, guys. Y'all busting my chops. Fuck them, okay? Fuck the heavyweights. All right, Q, E3. You feel me? Big Blunts, y'all don't care about the heavyweights, so fuck the heavyweights. But if Errol gets his ass whooped, yeah, it may not be a rematch, and he may go straight to Jermall Charlo. But the whole thing about Jermall Charlo, he has got to actually fight, or he's going to lose some of his belts if he doesn't fight his mandate, which is Tim Tszyu, who's been really on his shit, bro, really on his shit. And he got another fight coming, he's going to whoop some more ass. So I think he got his own battle to deal with. I think Bud may win by late stoppage. That's what I'm looking for. Bud decision or late stoppage. But if the fight is very competitive, I don't think Errol is not going to exercise his rematch clause. I think both of these guys got enough pride where they be like, fuck it, I'm going to run it back. Run it back. Right? I think both of them are going to run it back unless one of them gets their ass whooped. Unless it's like a Roy Jones second round knockout to Tarver type shit. You know what I mean? Man, y'all correcting the shit out of me. I'm tired, man. Cut it out. Cut it out. Thank you, Big Blunts and Blocks, and though I do appreciate it. It's Jermale, not Maul. I'm sorry. It's Male, not Maul. I appreciate you though, bro, because I'm tired as shit. But I gotta stay up till 1 o'clock. And I done worked all night. I'm home, and I figured I wanted to chop it up about this for a little bit because I'm very excited for the fight. I'm glad it's here. It's about time. Finally, we are here, and we are ready for some action. And you know the shit talking about to get crazy. But I really wonder how these narrative guys are going to spin this shit and how they're going to throw shit on Bud When Bud then got both of them, they real payday. They getting a real payday. Yeah. Yeah, you're right, bro. Like, listen, Q. If EJ gets a chance to make 60+ million in 1 year, win or lose, that money chasing nigga go do it. That for real, for real, for real, for real. Especially if it's a good fight, bro. Especially if it's a good fight, because that second fight is going to be. It's going to be some. It's going to be some money on that. That second fight is. They're going to make more in the second fight than they're going to make on the first. Especially if the first fight is a quality good fight. These guys gonna probably make 20+ million, on the second fight. So yeah, I don't anticipate us not getting a second fight. I don't think so. It just has to be a tremendous ass whooping. And I think both of these guys got a little too much pride to not exercise that rematch. And then after that, they go to 154. So then we now get the chance to see the other 147 guys take over the division and move forward. So it's beautiful to see this. We actually get a proper picture of what the welterweight division is going to be. And I'm telling you, this is their legacy to fight and fight. Errol Spence wins. Is his Hall of Fame candidacy in question? Is he on the door? Is he in if he beats Terrence Bud Crawford? We know Crawford's in. Crawford winning this, it gets him to that all-time status. You know what I mean? It gets him to that. We start talking about, damn, he might be one of the 20 best fighters ever. You know what I mean? If Bud wins this fight, and then he goes around and wins a rematch. But if Spence wins, is he a Hall of Famer if he wins the fight? If he wins the first one, we consider Errol Spence a Hall of Famer at that point. Good questions right there. But I just wanted to chop it up a little bit about this fight. I'm glad we're here. I'm looking forward to the I'll keep on forgetting Gillian Wallow's is it 60 minutes a game, or I can't remember. But when that episode comes out, I'm looking forward to that because I'm sure Bud gonna have a lot to talk about, and they're gonna be covering a lot of shit. And I'm glad Bud got CAA as a representation. Smart move on his part. They solidified it. The credit goes to both of these gentlemen for getting it done. Spence for stepping up to the plate, holding his promotional company to the fire, saying, I don't want any other fight but this fucking fight. And for Terrence Crawford putting value on his name and ensuring both of these guys get their career payday up front first and foremost. And they deserve it. So all of us as fans, if we're going to go to Vegas or whether we're watching a pay-per-view, let's support this fight. Let's support this fight. Let's run the numbers up on this bitch. Yeah. Bud beating. Now, hold up 1 second. Q, I will say this. If Bud beats Earl, right, and it's a great close fight, let's say it goes to the cards, does it mean that Errol Spence ain't a dog? I don't mean he really for real. He's not a great boxer. I don't think that would take it away from him. Now, if he gets his ass whooped, then yeah, we can probably start saying that. But if it's one of those back and forth great fights and Terrence Crawford hurts Spence, but Spence survives and it goes 12 rounds and Spence loses by decision, I'm not gonna say, hey, Spence is a bum or we know Spence ain't that dude. No, I'm gonna be like, yo, Spence, salute to you for your efforts, but you lost to the better man this night. Both of them will get nothing but respect. But if one of them go out and they get their ass tagged and get beat up and it's a one-sided fight and get knocked out within 6 rounds, then it's a different conversation. Then we'll be like, oh boy, But I don't anticipate that happening. I do think Bud can win by knockout because the punches that you can't see hurt the most, and that's where Spence is going to have his biggest challenge. Fighting on the back foot, being able to handle the punches he can't see. The lateral movement, the dominant front foot positioning that Bud does to get his proper angles. He does a great job with his lead hand. That and him being a southpaw. Those are going to be really the challenges that that Errol Spence is going to face. Now, the challenges that Terrence Crawford is going to face is Spence going to be able to make him uncomfortable with pressure? If he's able to make Terrence Crawford uncomfortable with pressure, then it may make Bud go wild and try to get his lick back and make a mistake and get himself caught. That can happen. It can happen. I'm not on no fanboy shit, It's a 50-50 fight in the sense that we don't know who's going to win, but for me, I think it's 55-45. I do have it on Bud because of the factors that Bud is a true boxing gym rat, and he stays in tip-top conditioning. And Errol Spence has not always lived a boxer lifestyle. So yes, Terrence Crawford is older than Errol Spence, but in boxing, I think they're about the same. And shout out to my man Jamal. I'm gonna have him jump in and have us rock into with the stream with me. Hey Jamal, how you doing, man? Talk to me, my brother. How you feel about the news?
Oh man, it's about damn time. Can you hear me, brother?
I hear you pretty good,
Hello?
man.
Okay. Yeah, man, it's about time, man. I'm excited, man. And now I can finally do a breakdown of why I believe this fight gonna go. Honestly, Steve, I think this don't gonna be easy, man. And I've always said this for day one. It's easy work for Crawford, man. And that's with all due respect to Spence, 'cause I like Spence, man. But when you talk about levels to it, and when you say uncomfortable, Earl Spence will not make Terrence Crawford uncomfortable. And the reason why he won't make him uncomfortable because of his footwork. You know what I mean? Nobody can make Bud uncomfortable, man. His footwork is just too superior, man. And I believe he's gonna try to, pressure Crawford. He's gonna have his moments where he try to pressure him. But when he pivot, side step, half step to the side, to the back, and he hitting them with them counters, the biggest question that I want to know is if Spence gonna have a plan B or a C, because he might need it. And I just don't think he's capable with it. So I believe that Bud can go A, B, C, D. You know what I mean? And that's why I got Bud beating him fairly easy. And it might be a stoppage late.
I feel you. I feel you with that. Now, listen, that is a big question when it comes to the Spence. And the thing is, I'm wondering, does he actually have those plan Bs and Cs in him? He just has never been forced to actually show them. So I think he may actually be able to do some things that we've not seen him be able to do. So it's going to be very interesting.
Like what? Give me something that you think he can do. Give me a plan B that you believe that he got in him that he hasn't shown.
I think Errol Spence may have ability to have some certain amount of lateral movement to be able to create some angles for himself to be able to land some of his power shots on Terrence Crawford. And I think he's going to probably focus on the body too. He's going to probably take a little bit of Devin Haney's body work to heart that he saw versus Loma, and probably apply some of that to Terrence Crawford to try to wear him down and break him down, to slow him down so he can possibly be able to catch up with him and get to him.
Well, let me say this to you. I believe he's definitely going to go to the body. But I think the key going to be is Crawford is going to let his shots off from the counters to the body. Now, I tell you like this. If Spence, it all depends on if Spence, because I believe that he's going to try to go to the body, and Crawford is going to have some counter shots waiting on him, whether that be the left uppercut, right uppercut, left hook. He's going to hit him clean with shots that he don't see. That's going to make him step back and want to do an adjustment. Now, I don't believe he has that type of adjustment with him. I've never viewed Spence as a great counter puncher, because that's what it's going to take for you to beat Crawford. You got to be a great counter puncher, or your timing has to be superb. And Spence, to me, does not possess that. Great fighter, but he doesn't possess those two type of qualities.
Mm. But I mean, do you think he doesn't have those qualities at all, or he just hasn't been put in a position to show them?
I don't think he has it. I just think he has a great jab, and he has a hell of a jab. You know what I mean? And he fought, and he comes in behind that jab, and he do good work. He got dog in him, man. Don't get me wrong. But what happens if Crawford take your jab away? What happens if that jab is taken away? What are you going to do? And I just don't see him. Fighters, whether you use, certain tools or not, you still going to at least show that you have it. And to me, Spence haven't shown that he has that type of skill set. And there's no knock on him. I mean, he just don't. You again, I always say this: Spence is a great fighter. Bud is just special, man. He's just special. You know, he's a generational talent. Now that don't mean he can't lose, but he's a generational talent.
All
And
right,
I
so
think, mhm,
I want to ask you a question because with the in regards to boxing, right? With
uh-huh.
Errol Spence, I think Mikey Garcia might be his best example of him doing certain different things boxing wise. Was there anything in that fight that you can be able to translate that could possibly be a benefit for him against Terrence Crawford?
No, because Mikey Garcia don't have the footwork. He don't have the jab. He don't have the long arms. He don't have the punch placement. And I like Mikey, but again, when you talk about Mikey and Terrence Crawford, we talking about levels different, at least 2 or 3 levels different in skill set.
I
So no,
do
I
agree.
would.
I do agree with that. I do agree with that because that's the thing that I wonder about Spence is how is he going to be able to work through the lateral movement and that great lead foot positioning that Terrence Crawford possesses. How is he going to counter that? And how is he going to be in the position to be able to land the punches that he needs to land to slow down Crawford? Because one thing that people keep on forgetting, Spence is not a one punch out, one knock. Well, sorry about that. Spence is not a one punch knockout guy. He's an accumulative power puncher. So that
Mhm,
means he breaks you down.
mhm.
But how's he going to be able to break down Terrence Crawford if Terrence Crawford is always in a position where he's not able to land the punches that he needs to land?
Yeah,
That's my biggest question.
and another thing, I think people Crawford is just not going to sit there and let him wail on him. You know what I mean? One thing that's good about Crawford, and I think a lot of people don't give him enough credit. Crawford knows how to clinch you up and reset. So if he's out of position and he's getting himself in a position where you know Earl is trying to come in and just dog to the body, Crawford know how to clinch you up. You know what I mean? He's strong enough to let you know to grab both of your arms and you ain't getting no punches off. You know what I mean? Unless he wants you to. He's
Okay,
just a
so my question, Jamal, is this because I'm thinking about whatever the weaknesses are for both of the guys. So people say, well, Eric Spence is better on the inside than Bud, but Bud knows how to fight on the inside,
mm-hmm.
correct?
Yeah,
Now, is there, the thing is, Errol Spence is not as good on the outside, correct?
right.
Can he be a more effective outside puncher in any capacity against Terrence Crawford? Matter of fact, I'm gonna have you play devil's advocate. What can Errol do to be able to beat Terrence Crawford?
Honestly, I think Crawford would have to allow that to happen. If Crawford try to get in there and just bang, 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 I believe that's Spence's best chance. Because sometimes that's the only knock on Crawford. He's a fighter. He wants to fight. So I believe that he can turn this into a dog fight. And once you're in a dog fight, you're going to get hit. I don't care who you are. If you trading, you're going to get hit. Now I don't think Crawford has to fight that way, but I can very much see him, saying fuck it, and we gonna fight this way. We gonna dog it out. I wouldn't. That's just not a smart move for him because he don't have to do it. But that would be the only way I can see Spence getting
So,
the
based on that, so it would be really imperative on Spence to land a really good clean shot early in the fight. So that means Spence is going to have to force the issue, bring maximum pain to force all the dog out of Bud to hopefully him make an error for trying to get a lick back.
Well, I say this to you, Steve. If you pressing in, one of the special things about Bud is he's going to get that shot off that you don't see. Now the question with Spence is you coming in, you trying to dog him, and you getting countered, and you getting hit flush coming in with a hook or an uppercut. I don't care what nobody says. He's going to change his game plan. You know what I mean? Because I don't know. I don't think Bud is going to drop him with a one hit, shot. But if he's getting hit clean enough, he will take that step back and be like, oh shit, I gotta find another way. I can't keep coming in and this motherfucker's hitting me clean. So Yeah, I don't know, bro. Honestly, it ain't too many ways that I see Spence beating him. I can see at least three ways that Crawford can beat Spence, and that's why I'm rolling with Bud on this because I just believe it's going. This fight is not going to go like people think it is, man. It's a big fight, and I want to see it, but man, I 8-4. I got Bud beating him at least 8-4.
So you think okay? So do you think it will go to decision, or are you leaning towards Budge with a stoppage?
I'm leaning towards the decision, but I believe that Bud can if he figure him out and he's shutting that jab out and Spence is confused in that ring and he like, oh shit, I don't really know what else to do here. And but to try to come forward, yeah, I believe Spence can get knocked out or he can get stopped. I ain't gonna say knocked out cold, but he can be stopped for sure.
So that's pretty dangerous for Spence because the same thing that's going to allow him to have opportunity to win can be the same thing that's going to get his ass whooped, basically.
Absolutely, because you're dealing with an intelligent fighter, man. You're dealing with a person that knows how to make adjustments on the fly. You're dealing with persons that has special footwork. His IQ, man, it's so much stuff that Crawford brings to the table. And you talk about things that Crawford probably hadn't brought out his bag. I mean, Spence, I believe it's some things that Crawford haven't brought out his bag. But again, you've seen the man do everything. He can fight coming forward, fight going back. He can fight in the pocket. His counters, man, his accuracy, timing, like, man, it's just so much that Spence would have to overcome. And I just don't think you beat Crawford by just thinking you're just going to come in and bully him. First of all, I don't even think he's stronger than Crawford, but we will see.
That's going to be an interesting dynamic. I mean, I really look forward to this, and I agree with you for the most part. I do. I'm just playing devil's advocate because I do see where Errol can win the fight. It is going to be, I think it's partly if Terrence Crawford makes a mistake though and tries to get his leg back because Errol Spence was effective putting pressure on him early in the fight. If I think if Spence lets Crawford get comfortable, it's a wrap. He has to try to make him uncomfortable early in the fight.
But let me ask you this, Steve. So let's just say Crawford is trying to get his lick back, right? You say he's trying to get his lick back. What can Spence do to stop that? What you saying that he's going to get countered?
What I'm saying is if that means Bud could get a little bit reckless because the one thing we do notice about Bud, sometimes he gets hit with shots. He can get hit with shots. And sometimes once he gets hit with shots, he gets aggressive and goes to get that lick back, which leaves him open enough where if Spence is smart enough and is able to capitalize, he can start wearing Bud down a little bit, landing the quality shot that's going to make Bud have to take a step back. And then from there, it can change the dynamics of the fight.
Now, that's the key that you're talking about. See, I don't believe that Spence possessed that type of skill set. He's not known to be a counter puncher. You know what I mean? So, and that's what it will take. If Bud is coming in and pressing, can Spence fight off his back foot and time that shot and get that counter in? I don't believe he can.
He hasn't shown it. He hasn't shown us that. That's the thing. So this is, I'm not going to, it's not the same, but it has some similarities when it comes to like Haney and Loma. He's going to have to show something that he has not shown before to be able to succeed.
Okay, let me ask you this. And I said this, and I don't know if it was E3, it was somebody platform. But if Sean Porter had a little bit more skill set, he beats Earl.
I can't disagree with that because Sean Porter made Errol very uncomfortable for basically almost the whole fight.
And you know why? It's because he didn't know how to take that half step back. He didn't know how to put that counter shot in. He did the punch placement. All he knew was to just dog with a dog. That's all and he did a good job at it. But that's all he did. That's how he beat Sean. He just outdogged him. But
the thing about that is, when we get into that styles make fights, is Bud is not going to press Spence in the same way that Porter would, because Porter is unorthodox and he's sloppy in his press. So it kind of makes you figure out how you're going to get around all this because it's all over the place sometimes. Bud won't do it the same way, so Spence may not have to have that same type of energy to be able to land any shots because I know Bud has great lateral movement. He can catch him with shots in different angles. But Porter is a completely different type of fighter who is going to make you uncomfortable by applying that type of pressure. I don't think Bud's going to apply that same type of pressure because Bud's a counter puncher.
But guess what? Look, if you notice, a lot of people try to say, Sean Porter didn't fight Bud the same way. All that lunging in and trying to bully him, he couldn't fight that way. You know
That's
why?
correct because he would get caught. He
Yeah,
had to fight smarter. He had to be more calculated. He couldn't just go in and try to dog walk him because he knew that Bud had the ability to sidestep that shit and catch him with shots and put him out of there like Kell Brook. Because Kell Brook was doing great for 3 rounds and all of a sudden, bang, fight over.
yeah. Now let me say this to you. Now you see how Porter changed his style. And one thing about Porter, he has great footwork. I love Porter's footwork. Spence ain't got that type of footwork. He only going to know one thing is to try to come forward, and it's going to be mainly behind the jab. I know that. But if Crawford take that jab away, like he made the adjustment and took that jab away from Kell Brook, do Spence have an answer? And I just don't see it, brother. I just don't see it.
That is the $1 million, or the $10 million question for these guys. The $10 million question. But
Look, man, I wanted to step on here, man. I'm gonna get back to work, man. I'm gonna get back in the live chat, man. But yeah, I'll rap with you.
I appreciate you, brother. I ain't gonna be on too long. I just wanted to chop it a little bit, man. So I appreciate you for jumping on with me, man. And salute to you, bro.
For sure. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Indeed, indeed. All right, so you heard the word from Jamal. He don't see a way for Errol Spence to be able to have a plan B to be able to handle what Terrence Crawford is going to do. Because there is going to be a point in time where he is going to have to do something different. He is not going to be able to do the exact same things he's done and be successful. You know what I mean? And I do agree with that. And that's why throughout this whole process, I have definitely picked Terrence Crawford to be the winner, even when people was calling me an aerosexual, But if Spence loses, boy, a lot of these channels, they gonna be like this.
You want me, boss?
Your number's way down, fruit. Way down.
They gonna be like, your number way down. They gonna be like, what's going on, bruh? Like, for real. But again, we are here, guys. We are here. It's officially time to talk about the fight that we've been wanting for 5+ years. We've wanted this fight, and now we are here. And on top of that, after this fight, we're probably going to get another one right after that. So shout out to you, Terrence Crawford, for putting respect on your name, bro. Seriously. This was my issue and why I was upset with PBC, because I felt like they were undermining you as a fighter, devalue you as a fighter. And a lot of these fans was letting that happen because Spence is the A side. So fucking what? It takes two to tango. You're not going to give a fight of this magnitude with fighters getting nothing up front. Where they do that at? What fight of this magnitude has had that? And that's why a lot of these people were saying that. I was talking to...
Shit. Enjoy your day, sir.
Exactly. Shit. I thought they was bugging. Personally, I thought they was seriously bugging. And a lot of people who are Spence fans, or not Spence fans, but aerosexuals, will say or spin what is transpiring right now. But the fact is that both of these guys are getting $10 million each for this fight. There is never anything proven that was offered to Terrence Crawford when they started negotiations. The only thing that we know for a fact is that neither one of these fighters was getting anything up front. We know that there was no rematch, the rematch clauses and all that. That wasn't in the picture at the time. We don't know what was transpiring on that. That would be all speculate at that point. But what we know now is that we have all that in place. And this is what should have happened from the jump street. The exact deal that we have in place should have been the exact deal that was made for then. And that's why I felt like PBC didn't really want the fight at that time. That's why I went from saying, hey, I'm defending Spence to like, Spence, you on some bullshit. You letting your promotional company, be on some fugazi. You said this is a fight that you want. But Spence lived up to his word. So with that noted, Spence, respect. Terrence Crawford, respect. Because both of these guys did something that means something as a fighter. Now, was Ryan and Tank a catalyst for this? Very possibly so. Because of the money that it generated, allowed them to have the capital to pay these guys what they deserve to get paid for this fight. Because they getting paid more front than Tank and Ryan. And as much as we say, as much as successful as that fight was, it don't matter nowhere near as much as this fight. When we look back in history, as we look at Tyson and Holyfield, Tyson and Lennox Lewis, Hagler Hearns, these fights in the previous generation, the Tank and Ryan fight will pale in comparison to this fight. This fight will be talked about for generations. And these are the type of fights that need to be made consistently. And we have this fight upon us. I look forward to talking shit to everybody. I look forward to breaking down the fights. And it's going to be a crazy next 2 months and 5 days as we talk about Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. And we're going to see how good the promotion is. We're going to see how much promotion the fighters do. And the thing is, they got to do this all while training and getting ready for the fight. But the thing is, if you always stay ready, you never got to get ready. And that's why I have Terrence Crawford, because Terrence Crawford always stay ready and you don't have to get ready. A lot of times Spence has to get ready. And that's where the question marks is. So if Spence loses, will Spence fans make an excuse saying, hey, he hasn't fought in a long time? The layoff and all that. But the thing is, Spence kind of killed that by saying that I don't do tune-ups. I go right to the big dogs. I fight. So Spence has nullified any of his fans to try to make that excuse for him. And vice versa with Terrence Crawford. I think both fighters are going to say and do things to make it where there can be no excuse made for the other fighter if the other fighter loses. We just have to accept the results and put respect on the winner. And I commend both of them for putting their fans in that position, because that's what I'm seeing. The fan bases are not going to be able to make any excuses for the fighters, because the fighters are not making any excuses for themselves. And that's why they both deserve the respect as pugilists, as champions, as one of the 3-5 best fighters in the world, because that's what they are. As much as people dog out Errol Spence, the car accidents, the drinking, the blowing up in weight, at the end of the day, when it's fight time, Spence be ready. Spence be in the ring, and he does damage. And I believe he'll be ready for this fight as well. I think he will lose, but he is going to make a proper showing of himself and do everything that he can in his power to win the fight. And thank goodness we get the opportunity to find out and see. With that noted, I appreciate everybody who pulled up on me. I'm going to give me a little rest a little later, and I'll be pulling up to y'all's channels when y'all talk about this. And it's the Unbiased Fan Brim Reaper. I'm signing off. July 29th, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. It's going down, y'all. And y'all have a blessed one.